Throughout 2016 to 2018, Tyron Woodley was the man. He was one of the most feared welterweights on the planet, one of the biggest draws in the UFC, and on his way to matching the accolades of GSP. Fast forward to 2024, however, and the guy is nothing more than a washed-up has-been who sits on a podcast and doesn't attract any relevancy. So, how did this legend fall down so hard? Well, to answer that question, we need to travel back all the way to 2014, when Tyron Woodley gained his first title shot against legend and straight-up killer Robbie Lawler. Woodley had gone through death row to get this shot, fighting the likes of Carlos Condit and Calvin Gastelum, who, yes, somehow made 170 back in the day. Anyway, after securing this title shot, Woodley made quick work of the veteran in Lawler, knocking his fellow American out in the very first round to pick up UFC gold. Following this, Woodley engaged in what has since become an absolute classic against Wonderboy Thompson, and the fight was scored as a controversial draw. Underwhelmed with his first title defense, Woodley quickly silenced the doubters by outpointing Thompson in their anticipated rematch before dominating Damian Maia at UFC 214. Then, in 2018, Woodley picked up arguably his career best win against Darren Till at UFC 228. Coming into this fight, Till was undefeated and was being hyped up by delusional British fans as the next GSP, some mythical fighter who was going to walk through Woodley like it was nothing. Well, that didn't happen. Woodley flatlined Till, knocking him down with a huge right hand before finding a Darce choke in the second and marking Woodley's fourth consecutive title defense. After this win, Woodley was the guy in the UFC. He had taken on killer after killer and smashed them all. I mean, the guy practically ended Till's career, who has won one of his 5 fights after the Woodley bout. He was unstoppable, a machine. However, in 2019, the unstoppable force in Woodley would meet an immovable object. This immovable object was none other than Kamaru Usman, a guy who, though relatively unknown at the time, had proven himself leading up to his title shot by dominating guys like Sean Strickland, Damian Maia, and RDA. And when the two stepped into the octagon, Kamaru showed that there were levels to the game, using his wrestling predominantly. The Nigerian Nightmare ragdolled Woodley for 25 minutes straight. Seriously, it looked like Usman was a heavyweight fighting a bantamweight in Woodley. And come that final bell, you didn't even need to hear the scorecards to know who won. Woodley lost his belt and never bounced back from the defeat, going from 4 title defenses to 4 losses against Usman, Burns, Covington and Luque. Now, you can't really have that much shame in losing to guys like Colby and Usman. I mean, they are all straight up savages who could literally murder 99.9% of the population. Oh, except expert keyboard analysis who have never laced up a pair of gloves in their lives. So, even at the start of 2021, Woodley's legacy was pretty solid, but just a few months after Woodley's loss to Vicente Luque came perhaps the most horrendous fight announcement of the year. Woodley was going to box Jake Paul, probably the most hated fighter in combat sports. As soon as this fight was announced, the UFC fanbase backed their boy. They couldn't see a world in which a guy who smashed Lawler could be beat by a cringy Disney kid who made a career making vines and TikToks. Well, how very wrong they were. The fight turned out to be a bit of a snooze fest, as both fighters blew a gasket and barely threw a punch in the later rounds. However, when it was all said and done, Paul got the nod on the scorecards, beating Woodley in his 4th pro bout. Then, in December of 2021, Woodley received yet another offer to fight Paul, who needed a replacement after Tommy Fury, pulled out of their bout. And let me tell you something, if you thought the first fight was bad, you haven't seen anything. When the two stepped in the ring, the fight basically carried on from where the two left off, with relatively little action from either end. Well, that was until the 6th round, when Jake Paul landed a vicious overhand right that switched Woodley's light out quicker than McGregor could down a shot of proper 12. Seriously, the guy lost consciousness as soon as the shot landed, and it took him minutes to recover. And that one punch has single-handedly destroyed Tyron Woodley's career. Instead of being remembered as the guy who dethroned Robbie Lawler and dismantled Darren Till's career, all he is the guy who got folded like a deck chair against a YouTuber, all while sponsoring Dude Wipes. Sure, He got paid and he got laid, but that paycheck can never buy back the respect of the fight world, which he's never going to fully get back.